Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am tired. It is 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, and I was tagged in a tweet that got me so excited. I am very, very, very pumped about this. This was a comment made by Aaron Rodgers at the charity event that he was at. It was a flag football game, I guess, out in L.A. somewhere, or California, where a bunch of quarterbacks went out, and Aaron Rodgers was one of them. Brandon Marshall, former New York Jet, caught up with the current star quarterback. And here's what he had to say. We'll talk about it on the other end.
Chemistry here. What we doing, A-Rod?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned? How long we gotta wait?
Well, I think it won't be long. There's a time limit for all this.
Can I break the news? Especially if it's the Jets, because I feel like I'm an all-time Jet. That's fair, right? The Jet can break the news.
You're an all-time Jet?
Yeah.
How many years were you there?
Check the numbers. Doesn't matter.
I think of you as a Bear. Not about numbers.
I'm all-time Bear too.
That's why I played against you.
I'm all-time Bear too.
I'm not saying you are. I agree you are.
Just like you're an all-time Packer, you can be an all-time Jet.
Down on the
Not if you only play 1 year, you can't be an all-time.
Yes, you can. Absolutely. Numbers don't lie. Check the numbers when you get there.
Organizations have history, right? And it's about the people that made those organizations.
So you're telling me I played 2 years for the Jets, that doesn't count?
No, it does. You were part of the history of the organization.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So
I just think
Tribeca,
you're
Brooklyn?
a Bear.
Tribeca, Brooklyn. Are you going to be in Jersey?
I've never been to Tribeca before. I've been to Brooklyn.
You look like a Brooklyn guy, Williamsburg.
I don't know what that means.
Love you. Thank you. Let me ask you a question.
Oh, man. Oh, man. I love Brandon Marshall so much. This feels like Aaron Rodgers is set to come to New York. He did mention the one other thing, you could set records. You could be over there. You could be an all-time Packer. You could be an all-time Jet. I was only a Jet for 2 years. So, well, not if you only play 1 year. I don't know if I buy that Rodgers necessarily is serious about playing 1 year. He may just be trying to cause a stir because he knows exactly what's going to happen as soon as this hits the airwaves. Like, everyone's going to be talking about it. You got some schmuck over in, New Jersey talking about it live at 12:30 after he's been live for like a zillion different hours the last few days. But your boy's got power back here, so I'm excited to talk about this. Let's do this within a half hour. We'll talk about some of the comments that you guys have in here and whatnot. And then I'm going to wrap it up because I'm not staying up beyond 1 o'clock. This is just nuts. But I am excited nonetheless. So it won't be long. There's a time limit. That makes me feel good. Makes me feel like something's coming. I put a poll in the live chat. You guys can vote on that. When will we find out about Aaron Rodgers? Is he getting traded? Is he going to retire? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Those are the 4 options in the chat. Now, obviously, it could be after that. You can leave a comment in the live chat if you think that's probably going to be beyond that point. But it seems like there's going to be a resolution here pretty quickly. And maybe this charity event was exactly why we haven't heard, an answer out of Aaron Rodgers right now. He didn't want to necessarily take away from the charity event. And I can respect that. I think that's probably, the focus was probably on that. And then, it always made sense to kind of do it closer to free agency. You build up the drama. You see all of us making content and ESPN talking about it nonstop, and then he's going to drop this news in these next few days, I think, and we're going to run with that media narrative the entire week as well. I love it. I think he's going to be a New York Jet. I'm very, very excited about this. Let's see. What are you guys talking about in the chat? Chrome says, Ryan, play the first part of the interview where he sounds cold on Woody. I actually did not hear that part, so you'll have to let me link that in at some other point. I'll put it down in the lower part. But that was the only part that I saw I was tagged in. Sorry. My eyes exhausted. Maine FC. I don't think Aaron would say stay tuned if he was going to end up retiring. I completely agree. God, my friggin' eye. Thanks. All right, what else we got going on in here? Anyone who's here at 12:31 is a real one. Yeah, I can't believe you guys are actually up with me at this point. So I appreciate it. God, I'm not going to be able to see, though. This is going to be a lame-ass live stream if I can't get whatever's in my eye out of it. All right. What are we talking about? Jimmy from Seattle says, give me a Super Bowl in that 1 year, I'll die a happy man. I agree. Maybe they go 1 year with Rodgers and they say, we're going to see what Zach has in year 4, back against the wall. Honestly, if they don't have to give up a whole lot of draft picks to get Aaron Rodgers and it winds up being a year, you wind up taking on a $45 million dead cap hit after this season, and it's really not that bad because then you can have him retire after June 1st, then it splits it over 2 years. So it's really not too bad if he does wind up doing that, as long as the, perceived next pick in 2024 is a conditional base pick based on if he's on the roster at the start of the new league year or something along those lines. But yeah, I like this. I am very, very excited. Taps any button says, I'm living in a nightmare. Alien says, this is happening. I am way, way, way too excited. He says, I still have a Brandon Marshall Jets jersey. Brandon Marshall is one of those Jets that I absolutely love. There's a few guys that played for us in like a 6-year span that only played for like 2 years, and I absolutely love those players, and that's LaDainian Tomlinson, Brandon Marshall. Actually, Eric Decker would be one as well, but Braylon Edwards. Those 3 guys just seem to always talk glowingly about the New York Jets, and I love seeing Brandon Marshall. I mean, the way he talks about the Jets on anytime he's on an interview, it seems like he had the most fun here, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but it seems like he really enjoyed being a New York Jet. Matt Walsh, somebody explain to me what's happening. I just logged on to the stream. So basically, Aaron Rodgers and Brandon Marshall were talking at a charity event in Los Angeles or California, somewhere out there on the West Coast. And Aaron Rodgers basically said it will, or not basically, he did say, I played the clip at the beginning part of this stream. You can watch it at the beginning if you'd like. It won't be long. There's a time limit, is what Aaron Rodgers said. And then he mentioned something about playing 1 year. You could set all these records. You could be an all-time great Packer, and you could be an all-time great Jet. So, I don't know if you could do that if you only play 1 year. 1 year, whatever. I don't know if it necessarily means he is only going to play 1 year. I don't think that's, definitive by any means. But he did say something interesting towards the end of the interview, and he said something along the lines of, like, there were people here that built that up. There's history there. I get the feeling if he comes to New York, I don't think he's going to wind up wearing number 12. As much as I would really like to see him do it, I think he's going to honor Namath and not take that number and realize that there were greats that came before him. And I think that's a really, honorable thing to do. Now, if Namath kind of pushes it, I would love to see him wear number 12. I really would. I think it'd be really neat to see it out on the field. Andy comes in and says, this feels certain he's coming, too certain. I know, right? I don't want to get excited because when I get excited, bad things happen. I don't want that to happen here. Let's see. CT Jets fan. Ryan's so happy he got tears. Yeah, right? That's what's going on. I know I got my eye, but I feel a little bit better now. T. Willie says, I think it's happening tomorrow. Could happen the entire day right before the tampering. Could happen at the deadline. Could headline the entire day right before the tampering period. Oh, yeah. Could headline the entire day. Words are hard. All right. What else are we talking about? Open up a cold one and notice 24/7 is on. Damn right. If I see it, I'll say it. Why not? Noah says, Ryan, are you having Rodgers insomnia? No, I was queuing up another video. I just made my Jamal Williams video, if you guys want to check that out. But I was queuing up another Odell video, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to shoot that. I'll film that. I'll drop it tomorrow morning. And then I get tagged in this, and I was like, screw it. Why not? Let's see how many of you goons are still awake at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, I got a little bit of Rodgers insomnia, but I think you guys do too, so it's all right. Ron Weiss drops in, says, Ryan, I kept checking my YouTube notifications for Jets content. Bang! Here's Ryan. I love it. See? If I see it, I'll pull it up and we can talk about it. I like that sort of stuff. Gangrene says, even though they didn't last long, I loved Fitzy, Brandon Marshall, and Decker. Yeah, that year with like Mangold and all those guys, that last push they had was a lot of fun. It felt like a really fun team to root for. You just knew it was going to fall apart. Vinny says, I was surprised that DJ Reed got his contract restructured. What do you think? I love it. It locks him in for the next 2 years. I'm all about it. because he was on a contract that could have been cut after this year. So basically, you tie him in for 2 years of Super Bowl. That's what's happening here. Rodgers is going to be coming here. We're locking in all these guys that we think are a future for these next 2 years. We're getting them in. We're like, hey, we're not dealing with the guard. Let's lock him in for 2 years. Hey, we're not dealing with the corner. Let's lock him in for 2 years. Hey, we're not dealing with the tight ends. Lock him in for 2 years. Love it. Absolutely love it. I think they know Rodgers is coming for 2 years, even though Rodgers says 1 year. I don't know if I necessarily buy that. What else you guys talking about in here? FM trying to get everyone pissed off. I prefer Matt Ryan over Rodgers. It won't cost draft capital, and we can stack Matt Ryan with Julio Jones. We win in a Super Bowl. FM, you are nuts. Not approval. Let's see. Christian says, Ryan, did you see it will not be till the 17th due to a clause in the contract? I don't think that's actually accurate. I did get tagged in that. So Rodgers' option needs to be exercised between March 17th and week 1 of the new calendar, week 1 of the NFL season. But that would imply that he currently has a $60 million cap hit, which he definitely does not, because the Packers would be wildly over the salary cap. And not to mention, they could announce a trade and then just not formally have it until the 17th if that were an issue. So that's not why it's being held up. That's just a false narrative. It is right that the option has to be the option has to be exercised between the 17th and the week 1, and that's what drops his cap hit down to that $32 million for the Packers and $15 million for the New York Jets. So it is, but I don't think it's actually like an issue here. Just Jim, welcome aboard, dude. Raw power. You can't leave the live stream until it becomes official. I am not staying up any longer than 1 o'clock. This is going to be a half-hour live stream. I'm going to cap it at that because I'm going to get delirious. Anthony S. says, in the beginning of the video, he says, sometimes your best isn't good enough, maybe hinting at a move. Interesting. I did not know that. I didn't see that part of it. OBJ badly wants to be a Jet, says Daniel Yanez. Yeah, but he also apparently wants $20 million, which is bonkers. Get out of here. I'm not paying a guy that has played an average of 7 games a season for the last 3 seasons. He didn't play at all this past year, played 13 games and I think 7 games the year before that. So I'm not paying to do $20 million that hasn't been healthy at all. He's on the wrong side of 30, although he looks good. If he wants to do like, hey, we'll take the Corey Davis contract, 2 years, $10 million per year, okay. If Rodgers wants to play with him, I'm all right with it. Guy looks like he could still play. I just don't want to trust a dude that has like 2 ACL tears or whatever he's got going on. That scares me a little bit. I do think he's a little more dynamic than Thielen, but I think Thielen will be more reliable. Other than that, I'm cool with possibly trading for like a D-Hop or a Mike Evans, a Cortland Sutton. I would like to go the veteran wide receiver route. I don't particularly like the draft class this year as far as the wide receivers go. Jet Simulation says, do you think there's a good shot Thielen and Jamal Williams come for cheap if we get Rodgers? I think it's definitely possible. I think Thielen's going to go ring hunting. I think Jamal Williams, I would have thought would have gotten paid more. I mean, he had a ton of touchdowns, but a lot of it was all goal line work. So maybe there's a situation where, if that's actually accurate and he has, a valuation of $4 million, that would put the Jets and their running back room as a total at $8 million. So you're like $2 million below just Saquon Barkley's contract. So even though we have a really cheap room, you can add to it because you don't necessarily know if Breece Hall's going to be available for the very beginning part of the season. You may want to work him in a little bit slower. And in that case, having a guy like Jamal Williams, who just had 1,000 yards this past season and 17 touchdowns, an area where we had a whole lot of issues in the red zone, not to mention a guy that can help facilitate the learning curve of this offense. I really like Jamal Williams. I know it's not necessarily a need, and $4 million added to the running back room takes away $4 million from somewhere else. There's culture, guys, and Jamal Williams, if he does want to come over here and it's not a crazy ton of money, I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. I would be okay with that. Hennessy says, 1 good year, but has 4 MVPs. I guess you're talking to someone else in the in the chat. Someone's upset. I like it. I think he'll have an MVP season. We'll have a Jet MVP. I don't think we have we've never had an MVP, I don't think. Craig says, I'm always here for you at this time, Ryan. It's 4:15 p.m. in Oz. Still want to see CJ Mosley restructured. Yeah, I'd like to see Mosley restructured because I think you could definitely drop his cap hit and then you can extend him the next 2 years and hopefully he retires a Jet at that point. Ryan S. So, Ryan, what time do we get him? It's like hitting a lotto and buying a Bugatti, but you kind of just want to look at it. I just want to see the little ticker at the bottom of like ESPN say like Aaron Rodgers traded to the Jets or like the clip come on and that's that's what's happening. I hope we hear tomorrow. I'm absolutely exhausted from this. Randy says, now they say there's no deal. They're waiting on Rodgers' decision to hammer it out, conflicting reports. Yeah, I heard that earlier. I was going to go live, and then I was like, I don't feel like doing it right now. I'm going to do it later. They were talking about how, originally there's this whole thing. We're waiting on Rodgers. Then there's this like, oh, no, we're waiting on Rodgers. There's no deal. So what is actually happening with this whole trade situation? I don't really know. I would like to believe it's not... not going the wrong direction. Hopefully it goes the right way. Cheddarhead says, hey, what's going on here? Hands off my quarterback. Hey, I like that the Packers fans still want Aaron Rodgers. That makes me feel good if he does end up leaving, because then we wind up having a few like pseudo fans of the Packers still rooting for Aaron Rodgers over here. That makes me feel good. More Jet fans, the better. Jigs says, my Jets fan duty to X out Cheddar's Cheddarhead super chat. I love it. You guys are awesome. Let's see. What else are you talking about in there? Hennessy thinks Rodgers will have us waiting until Wednesday. Chrome says, Ryan, you say you are getting off when the clock says 1 a.m., but the clock never says 1 a.m. tonight, which means you are on for longer. Oh, man. Oh, it's daylight savings time. No, but we spring forward. Oh, it'd be on way long. There is no 1 o'clock, right? Or no, is it 2 o'clock? When does it change? Man, I completely forgot about daylight savings time. That's really funny. If I had looked up at the clock and it was like 12 o'clock again, I'd be like, what the hell just happened? Wow. Jets Reaper, Ryan, you are all-time great at what you do. We need the all-time great quarterback at what he does. Let's go, Jets, Jets, take flight. Fingers crossed, brother. Discount double check. I probably should not have yelled loud. That's baby sleeping. Getting too excited. Maine says, manifesting that the news happens tomorrow for the love of all things holy. Yeah, we're all on that right now. 500 nutty Jet fans in here. Yeah, you guys are all looking at your phones, seeing all the Twitter updates and like, oh, what's going on? I need to know. But I'm like, I can't watch any show. We're watching, blowing through Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And they're only 20-minute episodes. I'm looking at my phone like 4 times throughout the entire episode. And Beck's like, what are you doing? you need to chill the hell out. Like, sorry. I'm all fired up. Peter says, Ryan, should the Jets get Jesse Bates? I really like Jesse Bates. I would not pay a high contract for a safety. I'd rather draft one in the draft, or I would go after Jimmy Ward from San Francisco on the cheap. Jay Stones says, I don't recall, have we paid Quinnen yet? No, not yet. I think that'll get done closer to training camp, and I think that'll be a main storyline on Hard Knocks when we eventually get it. I think we are going to have it when we get Rodgers, if it happens. So I'm going to keep saying if it happens. Dave from New Brunswick. Congratulations to Jermaine Johnson on having a baby. Congratulations, Jermaine. I didn't know you had one. It's awesome. I had my daughter back in June, and it's really, really cool. Ryan S. says, of course, during all this, we lose an hour of daylight savings tonight, losing more sleep. The nice thing is I don't really have anywhere to be. Shay's not feeling great. She's kind of sick right now. She got like a runny nose and like everything going on. We were supposed to go see friends tomorrow, but we're actually staying home, which I guess works out for Rodgers news. We'll see. Explosive says, Jets best go back to beginning of the video. Brandon Marshall interviewed Rodgers today. Yes. Yes, at the beginning of this live stream, I played the video of Brandon Marshall interviewing Aaron Rodgers. So go take a look at that. High Plains Drifter, welcome aboard. So you guys are talking about at 2 o'clock for daylight savings time. That's right. Yeah, I was going to say, I remember, so my birthday's in the fall, and I remember being in college, and we were out at the bars the night for my birthday, and daylight savings time fell back, and the bars closed at 3, but since at 2 o'clock it fell back to 1 o'clock, we had an extra hour at the bars. That was pretty cool. That was fun. It doesn't happen too often. Tigo, I can't wait. This thing happens tomorrow. I can feel it. 12/12. On March 12th, we find out Aaron Rodgers may not be wearing number 12. Maybe he'll wear a different number. I hope he wears number 12. I would like to see him wear Namath's number. But the comments he made during the Marshall interview made it seem like, he wanted to respect the history of a team and whatnot. So maybe he doesn't wear number 12. Illegally Beast Mode says, I can see a crazy Super Bowl, Cowboys versus Jets, and everyone in the U.S. will pull for the Jets except for the Cowboys fans. Oh, that would be really fun. And what's funny, though, is like I feel like a lot of Jet fans, and you guys can let me know in the chat if that's the same thing, but I don't have any hate towards Cowboys, like the Cowboys at all. Like it always seems like Jet fans and Cowboy fans sort of tend to have like a weird sort of overlap because we have a little bit of maybe distaste for the Giants because we are the younger brothers or little brothers to them in our own stadium. And then Cowboys fans obviously don't like their division rival in the Giants. So there's almost that mutual kind of thing. I've always liked Tony Romo. I would have paid Dak Prescott, but now that Dak Prescott has kind of not done anything since, signing that deal, I'm kind of out on him now. Fulham says 5:48 a.m. in the UK. I've been to bed, I promise. You're nuts if you haven't been. Let's see. Jamal Williams going to go back-to-back on Hard Knocks. That'd be pretty cool. Go Lions and then to here. Thomas says, do we cut Lawson? I don't know. If we don't need to cut Lawson yet, like to make a move, I think we hold on to him because he doesn't have any money that hits at a specific date, so you could hold on to him a little bit longer if you wanted to. I would love to restructure him if they want to keep him. I just would like to see more playing time out of Jermaine Johnson and Michael Clemens. But if you're going for a Super Bowl, maybe you have more trust in a healthy Carl Lawson than you do in second-year players. So we'll see how that goes. Have you watched the Caleb Presley interview with Rodgers? I don't know. The name Caleb Presley doesn't ring a bell to me as far as like what I've looked up recently. Can you send it to me on Twitter if you do have it? Because I'd like to see it. Ryan, Sauce and his crew torched the Cheesehead. What are you, Green Bean, and Matt going to sacrifice to the football gods to make this a reality? I've been sacrificing my sleep. I haven't slept well in a bunch of nights. It's crazy. This has been a rush this last week. It's been one of the more fun times of being a Jet fan. Stressful, but fun. Mutt Viles, wait, Jets fans sleep. Never knew since A-Rod. Never knew since. What are you talking about, Mutt Viles? This is English. Wait, Jet fans sleep. Never knew since A-Rod. I don't think that's words. That doesn't make sense, Mutt Viles. Again, Jets fans sleep. Maybe that's what he's saying. Michael Rubin drops in and says, do you think this is inevitable at this point? Yeah, I've been saying for a little bit of time now, Aaron Rodgers seems to just make the most sense for everyone involved. It makes sense for Rodgers to try and win a ring. It makes sense for Douglas and Saleh because it guarantees them at least 2 years. You get either 2 years of Rodgers or you get 1 year of Rodgers and another year of Zach. And then, it makes sense for the Packers because they're moving off of him. They send him to the AFC. It seems like everything checks out and it helps your number 2 overall pick if you want to try and see what you have in him. I think it's going to happen. I believe so much so that I put $100 on the Jets winning the Super Bowl, and I never do that. It's not something that I usually plan to do, but I feel pretty confident that it's going to happen. Craig Smith says, surely they would want to announce it just before free agency to get as many agents on the phone to the Jets as possible and start a recruiting drive. Yeah, I wonder how much of that has been done behind, like, in back channels. I would imagine Rodgers has probably reached out to a few players that are either impending free agents or, like, recently cut. The nice thing is, if you were to bring in Thielen, well, I guess you're going to be cutting some players too. I was going to say, it doesn't count against the comp pick formula if you bring in players that were cut by their team. So like Randall Cobb, his contract is voiding, doesn't count against the compensation pick formula. Adam Thielen was cut, doesn't count against the compensation pick formula. It only counts if you bring in free agents, but if you lose free agents and they get signed away from you, then it's not too bad. So guys like Quan Alexander, who gets signed by Houston, that could get us a comp pick. Maybe Quincy Williams might get you a comp pick. There's a few things that could happen, but I'm interested. But yeah, I think it's got to be announced before free agency. Joey says he could be excited about wearing his college number 8, as it will be a new chapter for him, and going back to his roots may be his preference. Yeah, I could see him wearing number 8 again. See, Mudfiles drops him a super chat. Hopefully your English is a little better this time, my friend. Sorry, I'm half asleep right now. I was saying, wait, us Jet fans actually sleep? ? Ever since all the A-Rod news and trade speculation, none of us have been able to sleep or rest until we see Jets traded for A-Rod. Today was the first time I actually kind of rested a little bit. After I went live, I took a nap on the couch. That felt pretty good. Phantom, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel, brother. Welcome aboard. Yeah, I took a nap on the couch. I fell down. We have a Chase lounge, and I was sitting on the end of it. I was like, I'm just going to lay back real quick. I'll put my phone on my chest. And I woke up an hour and a half later, and I was like, did I miss something? And nothing happened. Always fun. Yeah, there's Anthony. If our messages don't make any sense, we have an excuse. We haven't slept in days. That's probably why my eyes are hurting. I can't see straight anymore. Ryan Woodbridge says, hi, bro. Is the Zach going to get traded for Aaron Rodgers? No, I don't think so. You don't bring in Aaron Rodgers for 2 years and then give up on a highly gifted athlete in Zach Wilson. You hope to develop him, maybe hit his ceiling that you, or at least they are saying they believe he can still hit. So I hope, I don't think there's any way they would wind up trading him. Plus it would hurt our cap space anyway. If you trade him before June 1st, you get a $20 million dead cap hit this year. I guess it frees up $10 million for next year, but it creates a weird situation. I think they're going to try and develop him. Julio says, A-Rod told Marshall he's only playing for 1 year. Yeah, but if you listen to it, it's not necessarily, I don't know if that's, because he kind of smiles. When he says it, he's like, not if you only play for 1 year. The context there, Marshall says, you could be an all-time Packer, you could be an all-time Jet. And he said, well, it's hard. How long did you play for the New York Jets? I played for 2 years. You could be an all-time Jet. He's like, not if you only play for 1 year. And he kind of smiles as he's doing it. And he's got sunglasses on, so you can't really see his eyes and whatnot. So who knows? Maybe it's for 1 year. Maybe that's, part of the trade compensation. And they're like, Rodgers is saying he's only going to be here for 1 year. You're not getting another pick out of us. We're only going to give you the, let's say, second round pick because he's only going to be here a year. I don't think that's going to be the case. I do think he winds up playing the 2 years. But if he were to retire after 1 year, you would be hit with a $45 million dead cap hit next year that you could spread over the next 2 years. I believe it would be $15 million next year and then $30 million the year after that, if I'm doing my math right. But it's not too bad. And then the following year, if he plays 2 years, you would have a $60 million dead cap hit because there's a $45 million option bonus and contract stuff. It gets confusing, and my brain can't handle that right now. Three Siblings says, who's going to the parade next February? Yeah, book it. Peyton Manning leaves the Colts, wins the Super Bowl. Tom Brady leaves the Patriots, wins the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford leaves the Lions, wins the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers leaves the Packers, The last time he had a top 10 defense, he won the Super Bowl. I'm just saying. Just saying. That's all I'm saying. Boss Star says, my screen time is way up this week. Yeah, brutal. I can't keep looking at my screen. I'm going to go nuts. Absolutely crazy. Wisco says, lifelong Packers fan. Favre went to the Jets, got the jersey. Rodgers, if he goes, will get the jersey. History, Packers, Jets, Super Bowl. I'll be elated. Yeah, could you imagine if it was like Jets versus Packers Super Bowl? Jordan Love versus Aaron Rodgers. Ugh, I would be devastated if we wound up losing that matchup. That would suck. Not that I think anything ill of Jordan Love, but man, like the one time the Jets finally get to the Super Bowl, if anything bad were to happen, I'd be upset. We'd win, though. Stomp out the first-year starter. What else you guys talked about in there? Maval says, should have happened in 2008 or 2010, Packers versus Jets Super Bowl. Yeah, I completely agree. I think if Favre had stayed with the Jets through the 2 years of Mark Sanchez, I think the Jets win a Super Bowl. I mean, you realize that I shouldn't say the only reason they didn't make the Super Bowl was because of Bountygate, but Bountygate certainly played a part. I would feel like. Let's see. Man, we got a whole bunch of you guys in here. We got like 650 people. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. The hell are you guys doing? I thought I was going to do this for like 200 people that were, awake and people would just watch it tomorrow. All right. I'm going to call it there. I know we got a bunch of people in the live chat and we're having a bunch of fun, but my ass needs to sleep a little bit. Little bit, at least. But yeah, let's talk tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Hopefully there's some Aaron Rodgers news. I really want to see something. I've got to see something. I'm at my wit's end. I just want the quarterback and I want to erupt with elation and joy. And if that happens, I will be having a whole bunch of happy beers. Or if it goes the other way, I'm going to have a whole bunch of sad beers. Either way, we'll be here together. Misery loves company. Jets.